Welcome to the PCS Edventures Educator Spotlight Series. In today's sponsored feature story, we're exploring a dynamic way to launch creativity and build tech skills for the future. We spoke with two educators from Gompers Preparatory Academy in San Diego who are using the Discover Drones program, allowing students to build the RubiQ drone and ultimately take flight.
I'm the computer explorations teacher at Gompers Preparatory Academy. Teach 6th and 7th grade, and sometimes 8th grade will come into the class.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan Haymore. I'm a science teacher at Gompers Preparatory Academy, and I also coach the after-school robotics team in helping with the flights and the drone programs that we have there.
Sean, before you started using Discover Drones, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in getting some of these hands-on activities up and running in your classroom?
The challenge for myself, because I haven't flown drones before myself, and building them as well, I haven't done that myself hands-on. And we looked for a program that could do step-by-step that really is self-directed for our students to do themselves, and then I can be here to guide them and go over the instructions, but not really having to know much more about drones themselves. So I needed something that was hands-on and had the instructions there to guide my students through the process. And then Mr. Mora came in and plussed it and did phenomenal things with our program. Yeah.
Walk me back to the first moment when you got these kits, and we have pictures that you sent us months ago of the kids helping unbox everything, pulling all the supplies out, the kits. And what was your reaction when you saw everything that was in there?
Yeah, so when we ordered it, we weren't sure exactly what it was going to come like or how we were going to receive it. And we were shocked. We were like, okay, this is real. This is not just something that is, let's say, average and just thrown together. It was very well put together with the instructions on how to take everything out of the boxes, how to put them in specific containers, and then organize everything. I had actually the students did all the work. I was just there, okay, this is what we got. Let's take everything apart and let's figure it out. Let's put everything where they need to go and build, including the rack where everything is being housed on, to each of the boxes of drone kits inside additional boxes with the headsets and controllers and things like that. Yeah.
What was the vibe in the room with all the students when they're getting these kits opened and they're seeing what's in there? Can you talk about the excitement in the air, maybe some of the things that they were saying? What was that like?
Yeah, it's I would say it's like Christmas time, actually. So when they received everything, they couldn't believe it. They were all going, no way, no way. You know, like literally they were extremely excited. I mean, who wouldn't be? And unraveling these incredible, let's say, incredible equipment, and then the incredible equipment that you have to actually put together. So first you have things that are already put together, and then they had this going, okay, can we do it now? Can we build it now? And I said, no, you can't build it now. We're getting things ready for the school year. But they all wanted to build it. And eventually Ian, as we mentioned, decided that he was going to build one by himself. And I think it took like 2 days or something like this. He went like hardcore and went right after it and built it. And I'm going, okay, let's see, because he wasn't in my class. He had ballet instead of my class, but he still wanted to do it.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. Yep, jump in.
So I would say when the kids first opened the kits, our kids have experienced like maybe having pre-built drones for them already and already kind of putting something like that together. And there's not a whole lot of instructions with those kinds of things. And they've flown drones in that kind of sense before. But I think they were really excited that they were able to kind of have something that they were able to put together themselves. I think that the way that it was put together was like Sean put himself was like Christmas time for them. They got to see, oh my gosh, I actually have something now that I can make myself, put together myself, tune it to what I want, kind of make it out to what I want it to be, and then I can get this in the sky myself. It's kind of that challenging process that our kids kind of thrive and strive for. And I think that it was just really exciting for them to be able to have that new experience.
Can either of you talk about the confidence this has built in some of the students? Again, like Jordan just mentioned, having a project that you not only get to just open it up and fly a drone, but you have to build it from the get-go. Talk about some of those skills or some of those things that impacted the kids from the beginning with being able to put the whole thing together.
So it was kind of nice that the kits themselves weren't too complicated and having to solder everything together. They can kind of just plug and play and click everything together. But it was just making sure that everything was configured in the way that it should be. They really learned how propellers were put on properly, the right orientation to put motors on, whether they were upside down or not, how to plug them in properly, making sure that the signal wire was not plugged in backwards, and making sure that the actual connectors were going the way they were supposed to. But they were still able to learn each and every part of the drone while they were doing so. And it was a really good learning experience for them.
So walk me over briefly the timeline from when you started putting the kits together, how long everything took, and then I want to know about the exact day that they took flight and some of those aha moments and just the reactions when they're actually getting those drones up in the air.
Timeline was set that we would work on drones in the springtime. So we got it in the summer, but the timeline set in our schedule because we wanted them to get their ham radio license and do the flight simulators. So we started the flight simulators for the drone simulators from day one. So school started in August. Kids were already doing the simulators on the computers before we actually built the drones. So then we started the drone building in the springtime, but Ian decided that he wanted to actually build it now. So that was his decision. And I said, well, there's the kit, you can build it, but I'm not going to help you. You're going to figure it out yourself. And then in March, March, I need you to come back. If you built it correctly, then you need to come back in March and teach the class. And so obviously he built it correctly because he was able to fly it. And then he came back the first day we launched the program and helped all the other students in our class, which was the 5th period. So I asked his 5th period teacher if he can come and be here to help the kids build their drones if they had any questions. So there was a challenge during the process, and it had to do with, I believe it was the motors or it was the propellers. Because it was very hard to read, I guess they switched them. And so the drone didn't take off. It went down. But Ian figured that out right away, what the problem was. And he switched it. And because of that, he was then able to help all the kids in the class, didn't have to go through that, I guess, putting everything on, testing it, watching it not lift off, and then taking it apart. So Ian was here for that part too. So the process, it took about, I saw them every other day. So it took about a month to build the drones because I saw them every other day. And we do a little bit more in class than just one activity. So it's a different type of class structure. They come in, we have a gratitude journal, we do the simulator, and then we got to building the drones. And so, and I saw them every other day. So it wasn't every day. That's why it took a bit longer for the whole process to go.
Can you speak to some of those skills, maybe soft skills that they've developed with interacting with classmates regarding teamwork, collaboration, the challenges, kind of testing and figuring out, what went wrong and all that, that's very much geared toward this drone process?
Sure. So the documents themselves, we'll call them functional documents, that where the kids had to read them and they had to go step by step. And I wasn't there reading with them. I wanted them to read it and to talk to each other if they got it right. So one group was a little ahead of the other when they were building. We had 3 groups. So we have 3 groups that were building. We have the rest of the drones for this year. So 3 groups were building. And when one got ahead, then they said, okay, let's go read your documents. So that skill of collaboration rather than it's a competition. So at this point, it was collaboration because they all wanted their drones to take flight. And the skills that Ian developed, which is, I built it. He wasn't arrogant at all about it. He was more so, here, I'm here to help. Let me see what you're doing. Anybody had questions, Ian was there to answer the questions for them based on the challenges he went through. So I saw him let other kids struggle, and then he would come in and say, well, this is how I solved it if they didn't solve it themselves. But it's like discovery moments. Like they desired to be here every single day to build. They didn't want to go. It was 5th period, but they had to leave when it was time to go. But they looked forward to coming every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good, healthy challenge for everybody. I love that. Jordan, now take me to the day where everyone got these off the ground and took flight. I'm sure that was a really exciting day.
Yeah, it was. I would say it kind of goes back to even some to question number 1 that you kind of had, some of the challenges, and I'll get into that. But overall, it was a great day. The kids were really excited. We had one of our students who had never even flown a drone before in real life actually get to fly it, and she had an incredible time. So I'll say we started with one of our more experienced students just to test to make sure that what they were going to fly was safe, and he was going to set like a destined route and show other students where they could fly within the part of the field that we were flying on. And so that student plugged their battery in. We had all of our safety equipment out. We had the battery box, which was a really convenient thing to have in case we needed it for a fire, because we don't want to have that happen on the turf on the field. And then we also had our orange battery bags as well. So we were able to kind of tell which batteries were being used, which weren't. And so that student plugged it in. We waited for the GPS to connect to the satellites. And once it connected and we heard those sounds go off, the student armed the drone, he took off, and he had a great time. So when I talk about some of the challenges, I more mean the students are more used to some of the really, really new drone technology. And some of the drone technology that we're using here in these kits is just a little bit older, but I would say that it kind of took them off guard because they weren't as dialed in, as tuned as some of the more integrated systems that they were used to flying. But it was actually a really good experience that they had because it was humbling to them. They realized, oh my goodness, this is harder than I thought it would be, and that it's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of tuning to get them to fly really the way that we want them to. And so that was some of the challenges they were having, but also really rewarding experience on that first day of flight. And I would also like to say that one of our students who got to fly that drone for the very first time, she, having never flown a drone before, it was so rewarding to her to get to having built something completely from scratch and then get to fly something that she had built completely from scratch and having never flown a drone before. So rewarding for her. And I remember she was smiling the entire time, and she seemed so excited because nothing serious happened. She didn't crash. She was able to take off and land, and it was a completely successful flight.
Jordan did this amazing mod thing. I don't know how he did it, but when our student flew for the first time, he was able to have another controller simultaneously with her to take control, kind of like a student driver, like where you have 2 steering wheels. And I don't know how he did it, but he had both of them have goggles on, and he was right there with her, but she did all the work. It was like he was there as a fail-safe.
Yeah, so what I had set up was called a buddy box, and I'm pretty sure that that's somewhere in the curriculum. I just knew about it beforehand, so that's all we did. In terms of doing something unique, like putting the cameras on the drones. We do that with a lot of our other stuff. We didn't quite get that far with those drones because we were strictly just using them in the classroom and not outside of the classroom. But the students do have the experience and the skills to do things like that. And we do plan on doing that. One of the things that they would like to do is put one of their GoPros on top and then set up a waypoint mission using the iNav configurator. And we thought that would work pretty well. We haven't quite done it yet, but that is one of our plans.
Very fun. And can either of you talk about the durability of the drones? Is this something that you will be able to reuse over and over in years to come?
I would say yes and no. I wish that the drones were made out of something stronger like carbon fiber because we have had one or two crashes where they have broken, which is going to happen. It's part of the hobby. The nice thing about them is they're so repairable. So that's the positive thing, is that if we do have a break, we can easily just replace the part that we need to replace because it's all modular. So they're not as durable as I wish they were, but they're very, very repairable. And the students enjoy repairing them and trying to figure out what they can do to get them flying up in the air again.
And can either of you speak to the lifelong skills that these students are developing because of this drone process, the building and flying, and maybe talk about some of the potential career options that it opens with having this skill set?
All the students that have the passion and the drive to finish these projects and really iterate over and over again and rebuild and keep putting those drones up in the air are the students that are really interested in becoming engineers and future aviators. We have one student, well, not one, we have several students that are extremely interested in becoming future pilots. We have several students that are interested in becoming future engineers. And all of these skills, again, that iteration, that breaking, rebuilding, making it better, fixing it to fly and tuning it to fly better is kind of building those skills for future engineers and future aviators, whether it's in the air and they're trying to figure out what heading the drone is and what its airspeed is and how much lift it needs to stay up. That's going to be great for our future aviators and those students that are really interested in the physical aspects of flying. But for the engineers who love building the drones, it's a really good opportunity for them to build those skills as well. And I'm sure Sean could add on to that.
Gosh, there's so much like careers that it could open up. I see it as very creative. So it's kind of pioneering something that really is very rarely done, but it allows the skills of creativity to be developed in the student's mind, including those that look at something, hear it, and then desire to want to be part of something where they don't know. And then eventually when they tap back down to it, when they're maybe 11th grade or something like that, and they remember it, and then they start applying to college because they do become more interested in engineering of some sort, or they decide they want to learn more about, flight itself as a whole. And who knows where we'll be in 6 years or 5 years when it comes to this technology. But it allows our kids to be able to explore and know that their window and doors are still open because they built something that is achievable. So it's more than just one field. I would say it's multiple fields that this could be used in for. Definitely engineering, but there's, to me, I would think that mechanics, absolutely, where you're the collaboration dealing with teamwork. This is not an independent project. Even though Ian did it by himself, I encourage a team to build it. In the collaboration that you have to, somebody has to hold the drone. Like when they're screwing things in. I watched Ian do it and he's magic why he does it, but it's great to have two people to talk about it. So that skills in the future can be used for any field, especially through college and then engineering and beyond of using creativity. And that's kind of hard to teach later on in life, is how do you allow kids to develop to become creative? And this to me is absolutely a way, especially when Jordan talked about, and Ian obviously talked about modifying it. And I recently had another student come to me yesterday or the day before, said that they wanted to put LED lights and all these, even though there are LED lights on it, they had some other ideas that they wanted to evolve it to make it like, and I'm going, okay, these are great creative ideas, but I have to wait till Jordan comes so we can make sure that it's still going to float correctly and everything like that. Oh, we can do it. We can make it happen. I'm going, okay, great. Like, so I'm kind of more like, okay, let's wait until, and then Jordan comes and he goes, let's try it. Who knows? We can put whatever we want on the drone and let's modify it. So he's more pushing the limits. And I'm kind of like, okay, as long as it doesn't like go over to the freeway, let's make it happen. So yeah, so these skills of engineering is the key, but there are so much more that we don't know, you know.
To add on to that, I think, Sean, you're absolutely right, especially with the safety aspect. A lot of our students don't understand regulations and how certain laws apply to flight and among other things. And it's even teaching our kids with something as simple as this engineering project that they're working on, that there are a lot of laws and regulations that we have to follow to keep things safe and to make sure that they're doing things the right way. So just to add on to that, what he was saying.
Excellent. Sounds like you guys balance each other out. We've got the let's push everything to the limit, and then let's have fun, but make sure things don't implode. A big thanks to both Sean and Jordan for taking the time to share their experience. To listen to more stories from educators like you, visit adventures.com/spotlight. That's EDVENTURES.com/spotlight.